Welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk about something a little bit different. Now, if you're not a hunter that wants to challenge yourself, enjoys challenging yourself, this video is probably not for you. I, I'm I want to talk to the guys that challenge themselves, go above and beyond, aren't scared of getting um, wet and muddy and hot and nasty, and just go the extra mile and enjoy doing it. From talking to some guys about YouTube and even guys on some of my videos or shorts or whatever, especially between this channel and Florida Country Outdoors, several people have made the comment after watching a video like, well, there goes that spot, or now you gave away all the secrets, now everybody's going to be out there hunting just like you are, and they act like it's going to blow the place up or blow public land up and make it not worth hunting anymore. But from what I've seen, that really can't be farther from the truth. There's certain types of hunting that people and pressure and YouTube and stuff does hurt. As for Florida turkey hunting, though, we're the only southern Florida is the only place where you can get an Osceola. So a lot of guys come from all over the country. And I witnessed it this year opening weekend, or I actually left opening day. But down in South Florida, there was so many guys where I've never seen people that it was just unbelievable. I mean, mind blowing at daylight, and there's just people walking and riding and calling and stuff everywhere, and no respect or courtesy. It was awful. So there are situations and that YouTube and Facebook and social media does hurt public land. But when it comes to deer hunting, um, I think it's improved. I think it's the opposite. The Like you see a lot of on social media, you'll see a lot of people bashing other people on the size of the deer they kill, and I definitely don't agree with that. I've been tickled pink over some 6 points, that were crap for horns, but were 5.5, 6 year old, deer that I had to hunt hard for to kill. So I was proud of those deer. So I'm never gonna bash anybody over some horns. Um, but that being said, I'm not gonna go shoot a 2.5 year old deer either if I can, unless I need to meet. If I need to meet, I will. But I'm not gonna knock somebody else that's getting into hunting and shoots every 2.5 year old deer he sees because it's perfectly legal. But God put them here on this earth for us to enjoy. So if that hunter enjoys shooting a 2.5 year old deer, I'm all for him. But one thing I've noticed by all the bashing, there is a lot of people that get offended, so they don't want to shoot the first 2.5 year old deer that comes by. They're going to hold out for a bigger one. So that lets a lot of the younger deer live, which makes it better for me if I'm hunting older deer because now there's more older deer. There's, I mean, I don't know the percentages, but there's probably 5 or 10% of hunters kill 90% of the deer, on a regular basis. And it's the same way for turkeys, but there's a lot of guys out on public land that don't have a clue what they're doing and don't ever kill anything and really don't affect anything other than, I mean, if a new guy, if you run into a new guy in your spot, you're not in the right spot because the new guy isn't going to find it. But if I took a 50,000 acre management area and broke it down where I'm hunting or where I would hunt, where I think a big buck would live, I may only be looking at 1,000 acres and 50,000 acres. So I'm looking where the average Joe isn't going out there to look. A lot of guys mark ribbon lines, leave their tree stands up, and I'm mainly talking about archery season. But even general gun season, if a guy is leaving ribbon lines going in, marking trees, if he's leaving tree stands up, that just shows laziness on his part. So he's letting the deer know where he's hunting. He's letting me know where he's hunting. So that just pushes the deer. The deer aren't going to walk by him for the most part, other than rut or some young deer. But the deer aren't going to walk by there. So I know he just eliminated that spot for me. So I don't even have to go mess with that. I can go find where the buck, is going to be. And hunting around people, like I'm definitely not going to be rude. If somebody beats me to a spot or anything like that, I'm going to be happy, wish them the best of luck, and I'm going to go on somewhere else. It's not going to bother me. Where it does get aggravating would be if I took a date, waited for a certain wind, had all the conditions right to go way in the spot, got everything ready, got in there, and there's a guy. Then I've blown a whole day, and I'm not one that likes wasting time. So that aspect of it is aggravating, but it's not blowing up public land. I mean, the hunting's better than it's ever been. So if the hunting's not good, it's because you need to learn how to hunt, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I watch a lot of Dan Infalt because we hunt similar. I didn't know Dan Infalt had a. I didn't know Dan Infalt existed. Until 4 or 5 years ago, I guess. But um, I mean, my family's always hunted that pushed the envelope. Get in close. Archery hunting, we may sit on the ground when we only have one 5 yard shot. Hunting the dim trail going to a bed. No, we've always done that. But for Dan Infalt, and that's the Hunting Beast channel. So that he's got his YouTube following now, and his knowledge. He's basically spread his knowledge throughout the hunting community, and so now there's a lot of guys. I run into a lot of guys that hunt like me. But even Dan mentioned in his last video, just because you know how to find an island and a point and all these things, and you're not hunting funnels and all the crap that everybody did for years that they thought was great, just because you know how to find an island and points and bedding doesn't make you a great hunter. You still have to know how to hunt it and how to kill them, and that's where some people aren't even willing to go the distance. It's a lot of it's a lot of work on some hunts are a lot of work to get into a spot because you may have to go way around across a slough that's neck deep, holding your bow and holding your pack over your head and hunt on the ground, and you can't take a tree stand in. There's no trees for a tree stand. There's a lot of different things that you may have to do to go hunt that deer or to actually kill that deer that 99% of people aren't going to do. Each hunter probably each hunter probably has what they consider successful, and if you're the guy that goes out there and wants to kill 5 2.5 year old bucks every year and fill your freezer up, I'm all for you, and that's your idea of success, but it's not mine. My idea of success is pushing myself and doing what 1% of the hunting community can do. So I like to challenge myself. If I go in, and it's not always for the oldest deer. It may be the actual hunt, like what I had to do to get in there to shoot this one deer. I may be tickled with a 3.5 year old deer. I actually a couple years ago I shot a 2.5 year old just because of what I did to go in there. It was 20 degrees. I went chest deep in water, I mean, there's ice. It it was absolutely brutal. 8 miles round trip, freezing to death, and I shot a 2.5-year-old deer. That wasn't the one I was hoping, but shooting the deer made my hunt come together, and I enjoyed it. Um, so everybody measures success on a different level, but for guys like me that like to challenge ourselves, it's more of a challenge to kill that older deer just because he's lived longer and harder to hunt, harder to kill. He's not going to tolerate a mistake. So you make a mistake and he's gone. You got to relocate him, which may be 500 yards away, maybe 3 miles away. I've seen it both ways. But the hunting pressure when people say, "Oh, that's why I hunt. That's why I hunt a lease because public property is crap." Well, it's better than it's ever been. And if you can't go out and kill deer on public property, change your tactics. You know, research, learn how deer work, learn how they think, their instincts, and and become the guy that can go out there and regularly kill an older deer. There's a lot of guys. Your average guy, the price of leasing land and hunting clubs and stuff has gone up so much. I mean, it's outrageous. Your average guy can't afford a good lease. Your average guy is getting on a lease where a good deer, there's no way to manage the deer herd because there's not enough property. And a good deer is a little basket rack 8 point, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I mean, that's not what I want to do, and that's not a challenge to myself. So the average guy can't afford the 30,000 acre ranch where you can manage the deer and shoot nothing but 160-inch bucks. Just doesn't happen. We have the horn restrictions now here in Florida. A lot of places are the three on one side or 10-inch main beam, which that pretty much automatically gives the buck his first year now. So he's gonna gain that wisdom and instinct by his first year. So depending on when he was born, that his first hunting season with decent horns could be when he's 2.5. And if that's so, the first year he's legal, he's 3.5, which he could be a nice buck at 3.5. But once they get to 3.5, they get a little harder to kill, quite a bit harder to kill, and then just gets harder every year past that. They're hard and easy, so you can take a 2.5-year-old deer. He's all over the place. He's bedding wherever, just whatever he wants to do. That's what he's doing because he don't know no better. You take a 6.5-year-old buck, and he's got several bed locations that he prefers for safety, and he has his daylight range, however big or small that might be. It might be a little 100-yard place, or it might be 500 acres. Depending on what his comfort level is. But if you can get inside that bubble without spooking him, then he's actually easier because he's there and he doesn't have a care in the world. If that makes any sense. But guys that now look for the points and islands and all this stuff, so they're going out there and hanging cell cameras, and they're seeing, man, there's a 140-inch drop tine buck out there. I thought this place was nothing but 6 points. So now they're going to hold out for that deer, and they're probably not going to kill him, but they're going to hold out for that deer, which lets all the other 2.5-year-olds live. So there's more guys doing that. So we do have older deer, better horn quality. If FWC would put in some feed for our deer herd, Florida could have an amazing deer herd, but our management programs are awful. But when it comes to hunting around somebody, archery season's not a big of an issue because the guy only shoots 50 yards or whatever. So if you're as long as maybe even y'all work together, he's going to one spot and you want to go over here, y'all can kind of either coordinate that or be far enough away not to cause an issue. Gun season, safety becomes an issue, but there's times where I'll try to always be the first guy there. I'm always in, that may be 3 o'clock in the morning or whatever. I'm in there early, depending on the deer. But if I can be in there early, I'm in there early. A guy comes walking up on me or something. I'll wave him down. He comes over. Where you hunting? I'm over here, 150 yards, whatever. And if I think there's a chance somebody's gonna walk in there, I'm gonna hold back off my spot, especially like if it's a point that runs out or something. I'm gonna be up there where I can catch anybody coming in and at least talk to them. And if so, he tells me he's gonna go hunt over here, 150, 200 yards. I'm gonna use him to help me. So deer aren't gonna walk by him from a certain direction. And if he's got his stands been there and got ribbons lines going to it, and he walks in and out of there all the time, deer are avoiding him like the plague. So I'm gonna use him to funnel the deer down to where I want to hunt. So he may, and I've done it multiple times where I talk to the guy, coming out. What'd you see? Oh, I saw two does and a yearling. This bucks are just strictly nocturnal, and I saw 5 bucks and you know whatever I saw, but it's always more than the other guy. But use other hunters to your advantage without being rude. I have a piece of public I hunt. Um, I've only archery hunted it a few times, really, just because it's a morning spot, and during archery season, a lot of times I'm pretty busy here in the shop, and it's 8, 9, 10, 11 miles round trip, depending on which one of my islands or whatever I go to. But it basically takes a whole day, so I lose a whole day to hunt a morning. So it's hard to justify unless I'm not busy in the shop. So I don't archery hunt it a lot. I'm really hoping to this year. I'm trying to be where I can break away from the shop for 4 or 5 days and archery hunt it. But it's one of those places that's hard to access, and there's close to the access points. There's really beautiful swamp, some oak hammocks, and the bucks come up there at night and I mean just wreck it. There's scrapes and rubs and stuff everywhere, but you won't ever get a picture of one in the daylight. It's all nighttime stuff. But guys that don't know any better are sitting up there hunting from daylight to dark. So all they're doing is keeping the deer pushed down in these little fingers and in these little bowls in the swamp, and makes it easier for me. So I mean, I hope opening day there's 1,000 people out there because the deer just gonna be pushed in there on me. Another thing is confidence. And you hear a lot of hunters talk about confidence is key, and that's true for me. There's days when I know just from experience, I know I don't need to go hunting because I'm not feeling confident, so I need to use my time to go scouting or use my time at work. But either way, I don't need to go hunting because what's gonna happen is I'm gonna get to my spot, you know, and then after an hour, after 30 minutes, after an hour or whatever, I'm not feeling confident. I'm gonna move, and most likely I'm gonna blow it up. because I just have no confidence in the spot. When it's not the spot, it's me, or it's I know the pressure's not great that day, so I shouldn't have hunted anyway, or for whatever reason, it's hot. Whatever the reason is that caused me to not have any confidence in the spot that day. So if I don't have confidence in my spot, in my setup, then I don't need to go hunt. I need to go scout. I need to use my time and gain that confidence back. And picking a setup can really boost your confidence. If I'll like, even in turkey season or anytime I'm in the woods, I'm constantly marking stuff, and I'll take like, if I need a ground setup or something, I'll go ahead and in February, say I'm pulling cameras in February or something. I always leave my cameras up at least a month after season closes, just to see for sure what made it through the year, through the season. But I'll take dead tree limbs or something like that and lean them up, so everything has 9 months, whatever it is, 8 months to calm down before season starts. But I'll have me almost a little ground blind made, or I may move something so I can see, just little things. I'm always preparing, and I'm always keeping it here, and I'm marking it on my phone. So I have that extra little bit of confidence, and confidence goes a long ways when it comes to hunting one buck or the old buck. When you're looking for that old deer and not gonna settle for anything less, confidence is everything. And confidence comes by knowledge. It's just, I think of it as, um, if I was talking to somebody or getting up in front of a group of people to speak, I'm not going to be confident. I'm not going to be a confident speaker about something I don't know I'm not knowledgeable about. But if I'm knowledgeable, then I'm going to be very confident about what I'm talking about. And it's the same way for hunting. I'm going to be, if I'm knowledgeable, if I'm knowledgeable about hunting, then I'm going to be a confident hunter, which I'm going to have good results. I talked about people leaving ribbon lines and people leaving their tree stands and stuff, and there's situations, especially in gun season, where guys hunt out of a climber and they leave their climber at the base of the tree with some palmettos on, whatever the situation is, and which is great, absolutely nothing wrong with it. But those situations will be where they're set up shooting 100 yards to a trail crossing a slough, something like that, where the deer aren't around their tree stand. So there are times to leave stands and stuff like that, but it would be very rare on, like, islands or points in the swamp, stuff like that. It's not a good idea. Well, once again, I hope this video has been helpful to somebody. I appreciate y'all watching. If you will, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and happy scouting.